James Kirtley, Sussex's T20 head coach. Vitality Blast pretty close now. How are preparations going?
Preparations have been going great. We're very fortunate. I think the club have shown really good foresight in that having the two head coaches allows one to focus on the T20 Blast. And as I say, preparations, we've had warm-up games, we've scheduled our second team games in preparation for the Blast starting very soon.
And I guess, like you say, you've got a core of players for the T20 side that aren't actually involved in Championship cricket, which in some respects is a real positive for you to allow you to really just concentrate on that tournament with them, I guess.
Oh, it's a positive and a luxury, and the quality of the players that we have. I've been looking down, that sort of side that we could potentially put out, and they've played 1,500 games of T20 cricket, and they've got a head coach who's exactly head coach none. So, it's great having people like Ravi and Luke around who have played around the world. Tamal Mills, getting him back and, raring to go. So, a real luxury and one that you don't feel rushed. So as a head coach, certainly for me, in sort of my first gig as such, some of my ideas, you can have the conversations. It's not suddenly, crikey, here it is, 2 days away, bang, right now it's the Blast. I've been able to have a bit of a warm-up, have conversations and explain some of the thoughts that Luke Dunning, the analyst, and myself have had going into this competition.
And I guess the trickier part of that is the multi-format cricketers who are busy playing 4-day cricket right up until the start of the Blast, really. How do you make sure they're prepared?
Sauls and I, we talk all the time. I mean, you've seen, we're pretty tight, and we understand what's required, and it's part of the strategy and the vision that we presented in November. And we understand that there is a global brand, there is a profile to our T20 side, and we know where we are with our Championship cricket. So, look, it'd be great, for the likes of, for George and for Delray, who sort of fall in that camp, and Travis, and there's plenty but you trust them to be able to switch. The fact that they're playing is half the battle, and playing games of cricket, and then it's just a case of fine tuning just before the competition, just to get them into that mode. But thankfully, we got a good group of 5-6 players that have had quite a clean run into the competition, able to play the warm-up games and hopefully go out there on the 11th of June and deliver at Bristol.
And of course, you've mentioned those players with huge amounts of experience, but obviously there will be players who start on the 11th of June who have comparatively very little experience, particularly with the departure of people like Danny Briggs and Laurie Evans. How does your role as a head coach change between dealing with those globe-trotting superstars and people potentially playing their, first, second, third T20 games?
It's a balance. So you're trying to identify what we can do to give each player the best chance to succeed. So trying to find better information or good information on those players where they might have already had success. So that if we were to play a few of the rookies, we could do so with the knowledge that we've picked up of particular times that they've been successful in previous games. And Luke Dunning's brilliant in coding and noting down those performances so that we've got vision on what can be done. And as I say, the warm-up games that we've had give opportunity as well to, as much as it is to Ravi Bopara and Luke Wright, that you'll see that James Coles or Archie Lennon will have had a go, Dan Ibrahim. And so we're trying to give them opportunity in those second 11 games, hopefully in roles and in areas of the game that we might need some support. But all the time, Luke and I and the coaching staff are looking how can we best give every player we got the best opportunity to succeed and therefore win games of cricket for Sussex.
You mentioned Luke and the analyst role, and obviously T20 increasingly globally is a data-driven game. And I've actually heard some of the players, talk about Kurtz's cool ideas on the game, things like that. Is that something we can expect? Is that how you coach through kind of matchups, through numbers, things like that?
It would be very easy for the way I am, very detailed, very quite technical. I like the numbers. I like the information most of all, and it's the information that we must use. And it, as being a player, having captain for a bit of time when at Sussex and in Chris's absence in games, that it was, you do go with gut instinct. And you know, where I'm really lucky is that I've got a great relationship with Righty. You know, we had a great relationship when we played together. We were successful together, and there's that mutual respect. But you know, I will be backing Luke 100%. You know, I will trust him to go with his gut. Yes, he will have the information, but there won't be any sort of "I've told you so" type moments. You know, I know what it's like as a cricketer. I know what it's like as a bowler, where actually you feel that this is the best plan that you can execute. Or a batter, I'm sure, will have the similar ideas, that they think that they're in a position to do something. And you know, they will, I hope, be slightly better informed, and therefore then they can make those informed decisions out there. And I trust them with the experience we've got, and the vast amount of skill. And that's being the bit in this preparation, is just seeing some of the skill that these guys have. That now it's really for me and for Luke, right, to get that environment, put that trust in place, and allow these guys to go out and deliver within some of the informed structure that we've collected with Luke Dunning.
Obviously, this is your first campaign in charge. The T20 side at Sussex has kind of been fairly established in the way it's done things in the last few years. Can we expect to see a few changes under a new leader in terms of batting orders or the way when people bowl in innings, or is that a closely guarded secret
Look,
at this stage?
I think it's is it a closely guarded secret? No. The data and the way that information is being used, is you're seeing it more and more. You see how Sky pick it up. You see how, you know, in all the competitions that are televised, there is always this information on data. So it's available to everybody. Like I say, I think that, you know, if we're going to go and win this tournament, which is what I'd like to see happen in this year or the next year, is we've got to find that structure that actually allows players to play with freedom. And it sounds a bit of a paradox, hopefully that's the right definition, but that if you do give that little bit of structure, that little bit of information, it gives the confidence to the player to play with that freedom, to play with that belief, that then allows them to go about it in their own way, and they're not suddenly being surprised by a situation or, crikey, this isn't something I expected. So there will be, I hope, stability. I don't particularly believe in batting orders, but I believe in batting roles, and it will be, if there are changes or people see something that's slightly different, it will be done because we've researched it and we believe that this will be the right thing for this situation, and as I say, give that player the best chance to succeed and ultimately Sussex win, which is what it's all about.
3 overseas players in the country now, another joining sometime during the tournament, all fantastic players. How are you going to juggle those resources? Because of course you can only play 2 at a time.
You can only play 2 at a time. Yeah, that one, that one's really been landed on me at the minute. And look, we got a bit of breathing space. We've got David Wiese and Travis ready to go, and you know, Rash at some stage from the PSL will join us, and we will have greater vision, we'll have greater information, we will be better informed, and you know, with that then I can, you know, with Luke and the other Luke, you know, and Sauls, who will be assisting me, and Ash Wright, who will be around the side, you know, we will be better informed in what we can do. And you know, you can have 3 registered, I believe, and there might be times that players, some player or a batter might be more suited to an opposition than another player, and we'll look at that. You know, Travis offers a bit of off spin, and he's often done that early in the game. And David Wiese, you know, with his seam bowling, again, he offers good support early in the first 10 overs of a T20 game. So you've got 2 very fine batsmen, but equally they have a second skill which is equally good. But you know, most of all, they've got vast experience, and I'm sure that they'll be leading from the front with the experience that they've had and the responsibilities that they've had in the past.
Let's talk about the possibility of crowds getting bigger. In that championship game against Northamptonshire, we started seeing crowds coming back, and hopefully those numbers will grow as the tournament moves on. How exciting would that be to reach the end of the group stage and potentially be playing in front of full houses?
It's ultimately what it's all about, and you remember as a player that you're there, you're an entertainer, ultimately an entertainer, and that's what I want to see from this side. Is, as I say, you provide a little bit of structure, and then they go out and entertain, make the good decisions, choose their moments to either clear the boundary, which is what the crowds want to see, or blow the stumps away, which is what the Sussex supporters want to see. You know, they want to see Tamal Mills, bull down the hill and blast those stumps everywhere, or George Garton doing what George did so well in a role early with the new ball in last year. So, some of these guys haven't seen a crowd for a little while, and they'll want to perform. That's what they are. They're hardened year-round performers, and when you've got a crowd, it doesn't help you to sort of turn it on. And as I say, that's what I'll be saying to the players. Embrace it, enjoy it, and entertain.
Talking of crowd and crowd favourites, obviously Matt Pryor has been helping out with Sauls for the next few games in the Championship. Any sort of consultants you're going to be bringing in that we might know about?
At the moment, we're comfortable with where we're at. I maybe naively, I'm umming and ahhing about what support, and I'll get a clearer idea what that might look like. Probably, I think I can do it all, which would be probably an error. But I've built up good relationships with the bowlers. I still want to have that connection with the bowlers, and it's just got to see how realistic that is as a head coach to do that as well. But I see very much the role that I'm going to play with sort of righty fronting very much the side on the match day, that a lot of the work that I believe needs to be done will be done almost away from match day. That they say that you're there suggesting, collaborating with ideas and plans, and those all have to happen before the game. And then really it's a case of prepping the players and making sure they're ready for match time.
And of course, just as you've been supporting Sauls, as he's been doing his stuff with the Red Bull side, you'll have him to help out throughout the T20.
Yeah, no, he can start making me coffee. So no, he's Sauls and I. As I said, I think the club has shown real foresight in the appointments of splitting the coaches. Great that it's Sauls and I. We worked together for so long. We get on so well, and I think it will be nice to have someone of his experience and his wisdom, and probably calmness, emotional calmness. I believe I'm going to be calm. I believe I'm going to be this chilled out coach in the dugout, and that might change. And having someone like him who knows me so well personally, who will see my sort of tells that I might be getting a little bit uptight, he'll be very much there to help and support as much for me as he will be for the team. And that's when a coaching group ultimately works, and I think that's how an ultimate team works, and that's how I see this side working. And that worked from the support staff to Luke Dunning, who, as I say, will play a more present role. You'll see him around a bit more, be travelling on away games as well. So really he's my if there's a consultant as such, Dunners it will take a bit more of a forward step, which he's probably not. It's not in his personality to be quite so out front, but he's been brilliant over the course of the last 4 or 5 months as we've been developing ideas and thoughts, and I'm quizzing him, and the what ifs, what if this, and he's going, oh God, you've come up with another idea, or whatever it might be. But if you do it over a period of time, that sort of hopper of ideas gets really condensed, and then you come up with some real clarity, which is what you need to do in the snapshot or the sliding doors moment of a game.
And finally, as we said, your first campaign in charge. Excited, nervous? What's the main emotion?
Excited because I've seen what the players are doing. I've got no doubt that they'll be fine on the pitch. The anxiety or the nervousness is probably on how I approach things. As I say, these guys have played 1,500 games. They're fine. I've done none. But what I have done is that I've prepared, and I'm preparing the players, and therefore that should be sufficient to allow us to succeed. But also, I think to understand that we've got to develop just that style of play that allows us to play well towards the end of the tournament when it becomes a knockout. And that's one of the areas that we've been looking at. That yes, of course, first thing you need to do is to qualify to the quarterfinals, but you've also got to understand that then it turns into knockout cricket, and that's where I'm hoping that some of the refined ideas people might question maybe in the round robin stages, but hopefully latterly down the line when it really counts and you need a knockout moment, we'll be able to deliver that.
James Kirtley, some fantastic insights. Many thanks for your time.
Pleasure, sir.